Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Fair One. Am I the jerk for telling my father he either had to give me his car until mine was drivable or I was calling the cops on his son? My dad left my mom when I was 12. I love both of them, but when he remarried within a year of the divorce, I knew more than I needed to know. I live close to both my folks, and they both have keys to my house in case of emergency. My half-brother, 18, still lives with my father and his mother. He seems like a good enough kid, but he is my dad's son, not my brother. I just went on vacation to Brazil for a couple of weeks. When I got back, my car stunk. I almost threw up from the reek. I found a piece of chicken breast rotting in my car. I don't buy raw chicken breast to eat. I hate the way it feels. I buy it prepared and fully cooked. I asked my mom about it, and she had no clue. I asked my father, and he told me that he borrowed my car, which he is allowed to do, and used it to get groceries. I told him that he had to pay someone to clean my car. I got a hold of a detailing company, but they said that the smell was in my upholstery, and I would probably need to get it replaced. I told my dad, and he said that he couldn't afford that. I called my insurance company and asked if I was covered in any way. They said that if my car had been used without my permission, I could report it as stolen and they would cover it. I told my dad and he lost it. He admitted that his son had taken my keys and used my car, and that if I reported it stolen, he would get in trouble and it would affect his college admission. I gave my father 4 choices: pay to replace the upholstery in my car and guarantee the smell was gone, buy the car from me at full market value so I could replace it, give me his car to use until the smell went away, or I would report the car as having been stolen. Since the only extra money he has is his son's college fund, he is in a bind. I told him I was taking his car until he decided. I grabbed both sets of keys and left. I also took my emergency key back and changed the locks at my house. His wife has been hounding me because they have to drive around in a stinking car. I told her that I could report it as stolen and have her thief son deal with the consequences. She has had to start taking Ubers everywhere because she can't handle the stench. My dad is close to cracking and using his kids' money to pay for my car. I feel like a jerk, and that family thinks I am, but my car was only a year old and I loved it. Our next post is by Successful Tree. Am I the jerk for calling my sister-in-law stupid after she got upset about my wedding dresses? I, 24F, am Indian American. My sister-in-law, 25F, is white. We're both getting married within a few weeks of each other. My parents and in-laws are paying for most of my wedding. My brother and sister-in-law decided to pay for their own wedding. My parents are going to pay for the reception because the groom's parents traditionally pay for that, but they're paying for everything else themselves. My sister-in-law invited me to go dress shopping with her yesterday. She already had her dress for the white wedding, and yesterday she bought lehengas, Indian dresses, for the reception and pre-wedding event. She's condensing all the events into one day. After she bought her clothes, she asked to see mine. I did most of my wedding shopping in India. I have 4 lehengas, all of which are from a famous Indian bridal designer. The one that I'm wearing to my actual wedding was about $10,000 USD, and all of them cost about $25,000 put together. Including jewelry and accessories, my wedding outfits cost around $50,000. I didn't offer any of this information. My sister-in-law asked me to tell her. After I told her, she was pretty shocked and asked if I'm making my parents pay for all that. I'm not. They're paying for 2 of the dresses and the jewelry, but my fiancé's parents are paying for my reception dress because they're hosting the reception, and my mom's brother paid for my wedding dress because the bride's maternal uncle traditionally pays for the wedding dress. Sister-in-law said that just one of my dresses costs more than hers, and my wedding is probably going to overshadow hers because mine is 2 weeks before. And the guests are probably going to be talking about how her sister-in-law had nicer dresses and a much more extravagant wedding. I said that she's being stupid, and hardly anybody will even remember what I wore at my wedding. I'm generally pretty soft-spoken and I don't cuss, so calling someone stupid is about as harsh as I get. She got upset and left my house looking like she was about to cry. Later my brother called and said that she's really sad and should lied or change the topic. I'm a really bad liar, and I don't know how I could have changed the topic when she was there to see my dresses. Sister-in-law and I have been good friends since before she was with my brother, and she's always been very emotional. She'll probably be over it by Monday at the latest, but I feel bad about upsetting her. Am I the jerk? Edit. My fiancé and I chose our date first. Our birthdays are one day apart, and we decided to get married on the day in between. My brother and sister-in-law chose their date because it wasn't as expensive as the other dates they considered, and the weather is good in their honeymoon destination around that time of year. Edit 2. I've realized that even if I'm not the jerk, I'd rather not risk losing my friendship with her over something so minor. I'm going to call her in the morning and apologize. Our next post is by Status Border. Am I the jerk for trying to kick my niece's friends out of my house, and when sister-in-law objected, I asked her to leave too? My husband's family is having a week-long family reunion in our city, and last night we hosted a dinner party at our house. There were about 40 people there, and it really started at noon, since many of the adults came to help prep the house and the food and enjoy being together. For the most part, his family is lovely and we get along well. I tried to shut it down and said that the party is over and it's after midnight. A girl in the group said that they've been driving for so long and she doesn't want to be in the car anymore. Then another girl told my niece, without looking at me, that everything is closed, so if they don't eat now, they won't be able to eat until morning. I pointed out the gas stations are still open when my sister-in-law, niece's mom, told the group she can heat up some food for them. We got into a heated discussion, and I told sister-in-law she can leave and feed them at her house. My husband led me upstairs, begged me to just let his sister feed the group, and we argued. It was almost 2 before I could get our toddler to sleep, due to the noise and the smell of food coming from downstairs. Today at lunch, another sister-in-law made a passive-aggressive comment about being a good host, so I told her directly that a good guest doesn't bring additional guests. That blew the lid off, and we argued loudly. His entire family thinks I'm being unreasonable to a group of tired and hungry kids. My husband thinks it's the stress of having so many people here, that I'm overreacting and should apologize. I refuse to and feel like I'm on an island by myself. Was I wrong? Our next post is by Fred 1980. Am I the jerk for telling my neighbors to get a hotel if they want to do stuff every night? I, 43 male, have 6 children. 4 daughters and 2 sons, age ranging from 16 to 2. All my daughters share a room, and my sons share a room. I am aware that's a bit intense, but they're both quite big rooms, and they all enjoy sharing a room. Our house is connected to the next door, and the neighbor's bedroom is on the same wall as both my kids' rooms. Our new neighbors moved in about 4 months ago, and not to be TMI, but I swear they're always doing something. I'm not one to be confrontational, so I tried to just ignore it. I can sleep through the night fine. But a few days ago, my daughter, female 5, came into my room at 2 a.m. crying, saying she thinks the neighbors are fighting each other and that they were screaming. Of course, Elle was concerned and told my daughter to stay in my room. I went into hers, and lo and behold, they were screaming, but not from fighting. At this point, I was irritated. If they want to do it every day, that's their choice. But if they're waking my children up at 2 a.m., I think I have the right to say something. The next day I went over to their house and basically told the husband that if he's that horn, he can get a motel or do it in the basement. He got mad and embarrassed. He told me it was none of my business what they did in bed and then slammed the door in my face. I feel like I may have been in the wrong, but they're also doing it, 6 feet away from 6 sleeping children with only a thin wall in between. Am I the jerk? Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.